Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we talk books, drink booze, and have beards.
All right. As always, I am Bob of Tales by Bob.
I'm the ass of the podcast, Derek.
I'm creative consultant Tanya.
Woo! So this week...
She's napping intern Tanya.
She's
Creative
right
consultant Tanya.
She's fading over there.
She's fading.
She ate a salad.
Fading fast.
She ate a salad, and it made her sleepy.
She's like, I ate this salad and it's weighing in my gut. It has nothing to do with the roast.
The spinach is just sitting on me.
Yeah, nothing to do with the roast and the potatoes. No, that's not the
Or
heaviness.
what was that, an Almond Joy?
Hey, don't spread my shame.
Don't put my business in the street.
I was like, I'm a piece of shit who has no willpower. Nom, nom, nom.
Eva.
Almond Joys.
If only you had some strawberries, right?
If only
Yeah,
I
I had some
would love some strawberries dunked in
Or a
chocolate.
cheese pear.
I would fuck up a pear salad.
I could go for a pear.
You know, as soon as you said that, I was like, I'd eat a pear.
a canned pear right now. I can.
I haven't had canned pears in forever.
A can of fruit
I went
salad?
through a little phase there, like earlier, or sometime last year, where I was eating a lot of fruit cups and like canned pear, like diced pears and stuff like that. It was good. I hadn't really eaten those since I was a wee bairn.
I have
got into it.
My mom and grandma have a tendency of every so often sending me home those cups of like Jello with fruit in it.
Yeah.
And like I can eat a whole thing of those, and then I'm like, I'm good for these forever. But for that one time, it's the greatest thing ever. But then they buy it for me like for a couple months afterwards, and I'm like, this is gonna go to waste. I'm not gonna eat it.
Overdoing it. So what we're going to talk about this time? A few weeks ago, we had the informative, like, oh hey, here
Here's some resources.
Here's some resources for finding books on the internet. So we decided that maybe we should tell you what are some of the books you should be looking for. Like, who are some of the bigger names out there right now?
Yeah, you've hit up the Audible. You've hit up Kindle Store. Who are you even looking for, Bob?
Yeah, so here's some... These are...
Well, first of all, you're going to go look for Robert Magoo, get them books.
Well, yes, obviously, of course.
And 5-star rate them and leave a review for sure.
Yeah. But, so what we decided, though, was for the most part, we're picking recent authors. Like people who are big names that maybe they haven't been writing for 30 years.
So now, this whole thing I have for Tolkien is wrong?
Throw it away. Turn it into a paper airplane and fling it out the door.
Did you write down about Tolkien?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't write anything down. I never come prepared.
So we're not going to talk about Tolkien. We're not going to talk about Robert Jordan. We're not going to talk about some of these big name people that have been, in
the game for a while.
Yeah, Terry Goodkind, stuff like that.
Terry Pratchett.
Gaiman?
Actually, you know what? Let's talk about Gaiman for a second, because he should be on this list. Like, he has been around for a while, but...
Kind of hitting his stride now-ish, maybe?
Well, no, he hit his stride about...
He's just so... So, the reason I kind of want to talk about him... So, let's talk about Neil Gaiman for a second.
Great voice.
He'll be the first... Oh, God, he's got an amazing
Great voice, yeah.
He's been cropping up on my Instagram ads. He apparently has a master class on storytelling now. And so... it's a Facebook little video ad, and I always catch like the first 5 seconds of it, and it's just his voice is mesmerizing.
Wait, you have your Facebook ads to automatically start and they have sound?
No. Well, the videos are going to start regardless, but they don't start with sound. But if you've clicked sound on some other video, then all videos have sound.
I was like, what kind of sociopath are you where you just have your
trust me,
ads playing with sound all the time?
But
Bob ain't about that sound.
So I actually I got there was a Neil Gaiman book on sale the other day, Trigger Warning, and it's a short story collection. And I was like, oh shit, $1.99. Snapped it up. I was like, I love Neil Gaiman. This is, short story collections, all about him. Grabbed it. And I read the first 2 stories, I've fucking read these stories before. But I have read a fair bit of Neil Gaiman, so I was like, there's a chance I read it elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I read that whole collection. Yeah, I've read that collection before.
Womp.
But it had been a long time.
Yeah.
And so the story's real good. But it has, I know Derek will rush out to buy it, but it has The Truth is a Cave in the Black Mountains.
I enjoyed that.
I
really like that story.
That's in there. If you like American Gods, there's an American Gods story in there that follows Shadow.
I have his I have not read Neil Gaiman yet.
Okay.
I have a bunch of his stuff on my TBR.
You have, what is it, mythology? Or
I have Norse mythology. I have Neverwhere.
Okay, Neverwhere is what you need to read.
I have that.
To get, Norse mythology is not what...
Ignore him. Do American Gods.
Be
one of us.
I think I have American Gods.
You might like American Gods.
And I've picked up some stuff because I know the name.
Norse mythology is not the thing to read to get the feel for Gaiman.
Right.
That is his retelling of Norse mythology.
Yeah.
I heard it's good, but it's just not.
It's not his voice. It's his story.
It's those stories in his voice.
Yeah.
Okay. But Neverwhere, really good. Stardust, really good.
Really, you just need to pick up Sandman.
Oh, the Sandman comics are fucking amazing. That was my.
I still never read them.
That was my introduction. You can get the Sandman Omnibus. It's $90 on Amazon hardback right now. I'm tempted. The only reason I didn't jump on it is from looking at the picture, they need to have broken it down into 2 omnibuses. That book is thick, and I don't want a comic book that thick, basically.
Thick with
Is it thicker than my 2 Fear Agent?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, from the picture, it looked that thick, dude.
Because I've got 2 Fear Agents.
I know everyone can see that, but it's about half the length of my penis.
So like an inch and a half.
Yeah, basically. So,
yikes.
But anyway, he's also married to Amanda Palmer, for those Dresden fans out there.
No. I don't know who that is.
Huh?
I don't know who that is.
Amanda Palmer?
No.
You're a huge fan of the Dresden Dolls.
No. What? No. Why are you looking at me confused? I don't know who that is.
I don't even know who the Dresden Dolls are.
No.
Coin-operated boy?
I'm aware of that song.
You like Amanda Palmer, don't you? You're fucking with me, right?
I just don't think I know her name.
Wow. I was gonna okay.
He is actually flustered.
No, there's some fuckery afoot. Okay, so yeah, you should check. All right, since you don't know Amanda Palmer,
I know the name, but I just don't.
You should. Well, you should. You will really enjoy her body of work. She's a musician. Check it out. But she also did a really good book.
I think maybe you're right, Bob. I think maybe. Now that I'm thinking harder.
Oh my god, I'm fucking done. Anyway, so yeah, check out Neil Gaiman.
She would know.
He should have been on the list. He
immediately if she had strawberries.
Yeah,
I would.
probably.
It's my problem.
Okay,
that mind fuel.
So the straw burning out.
So the first person we're going to talk about. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. People that have been around the longest, I'm going to do them the firstest, and then we'll kind of
the
move
newest,
up.
Lastest.
No, the oldest, firstest.
Oldest, firstest, newest, lastest.
Yeah, okay.
This is
so we're going to talk about.
So we're FIFOing it really. First in, first out.
We're going to talk about first George Raymond Richard Martin, who was born George Raymond Martin.
So he got a little dick in his life.
It was
apparently
it was a confirmation story or confirmation name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when you get baptized, you get an extra name?
I guess so.
Cool.
He was born in 1948. So he's an American novelist and short story writer in the fantasy, horror, science fiction genres. He's a screenwriter, television producer. What y'all all probably know him for is
Beauty and the Beast.
Game of Thrones, or A Song of Ice and Fire to give it its actual name. So in 2005, Lev Grossman, who could have made it on this list if I liked his stuff more, called Martin the American Tolkien. And in 2011, he was included on the annual Time 100 list of the most influential people in the world. So in 1970, he got a BS in journalism. And
bullshit.
Yeah. And he went on to get an MS in journalism in 71. He was eligible to be drafted in the Vietnam War, but he objected as a conscientious objector and got conscientious objector status. So instead, he did alternative service work for 2 years as a volunteer doing stuff. Most importantly, he was in the 3rd Sharknado movie.
Is that really the most important thing about Germ?
I think so. Have you seen Sharknado?
Question.
Yes.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
The first 3 episodes.
It's been a struggle, Derek. I keep going.
Stop. You're really letting me down.
I don't have a lot of time, and when I do have time...
You just let him walk all over you. I don't understand this, and we're going to have a talk. We'll talk about this off air.
So...
pointedly points to the board I'm do.
I'm Babe Ruthing it every time I use it from now on, because I want you to know that I'm not doing it on accident.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fair use of the. We'll talk about it off air. I'm not opposed to saying we're going to talk about off air, but I just want it to be clear that we're not excluding them. That we're going to let you know what we're going to talk about off air. So in this case, we're going to talk about how Tanya's
really letting me down.
Tanya doesn't put me in my place.
No.
Okay. So, but yeah. So he did Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Well, is doing Game of Thrones. So,
okay. Says Winds of Winter that's never coming.
I think Winds of Winter comes out in 2020. I think it does.
I think they both come out.
I don't think they both, but I think there will be a much shorter gap between.
I'm hoping Winds of Winter comes out this year, towards the finale of this show.
I think if they were going to do that, it would already have been announced. There's too much that goes into a book coming out of this magnitude.
Yeah,
it would have been leaked by now if it's going to come out at around this time. But I think it comes out. I think it comes out in 2020,
Fall
I think probably early to summer, maybe summer 2020. But we'll see. But he also did Night Flyers, which I just read.
I have that.
And it was they did a season of it on Sci-Fi. It's a horror sci-fi deal. Pretty cool. But mostly so everyone Game of Thrones. Well, really, at the end of the day, George R. R. Martin's an editor more than an author. Yes, he got big off of
A Song of Ice and Fire.
Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
But really, if he hadn't done that, when he died, he would have been known as an editor more than an author. So if you ever see any collection that's been edited by him, jump on it. He's a fucking phenomenal editor. I've read several. He does a bunch with Gardner Dozier. Great.
He's also one of the few non-Eastern European people at this point who's on LiveJournal, because he still has a LiveJournal, which has been taken over. But I miss LiveJournal. It was great. But he has a LiveJournal. It's wonderful. He makes a cookbook. He has a cookbook.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff. He does animal stuff. But anyway, you should.
She likes him because she's a furry. Yeah.
Okay. He has done a lot.
Okay, can that not be a thing? There's been so many jokes about stuff for me.
Would you want to be a serial killer or
I would rather be a serial killer than a furry.
Well,
I got you.
Okay, yeah, serial killer. Got you.
Cool. Great.
All right. So
it feels more natural.
All right. So what? Wow. So why should you read George R. R. Martin? Of the people in this room, Tanya has read all the books.
I have.
I have read two of the books.
Doesn't he have really good prose?
Yeah, they're very well written. His world feels very lived in because he spends a lot of time building this whole universe, and it's great. It's kind of frustrating from a reader standpoint because he's built such a intricate world where he kind of goes off on these side stories. I'm like, oh bitch, no one cares. Put me back to Tyrion because he's the best.
Yeah.
Follow me, Tyrion, please.
So why you should read this, why this should or be on your radar, be familiar with it, is because so fantasy hits. All right, it's Tolkien, Tolkien, and a bunch of Tolkien clones like Lord Fowl's Bane by Stephen Donaldson, and all the books that were coming out were very Tolkien influenced, and it got really say reductive is not the word, but it got pretty intense. So George R. R. Martin was fucking fed up with that, and so he wrote this he's writing this series as a reaction.
Flip that script.
To flip it around. So it's very low magic.
There's
grim, it's gritty.
I can think of 3 people in the 17,000 fucking pages. I can think of 3 people who use magic, and it's maybe 5 times total.
Yeah.
Period.
So it's a reaction to that.
Yeah.
So and because of that, and because of its popularity, it has gone a long way to influence our current fantasy happenings. So that's why you should be aware of him.
Also, Game of Thrones, real good show, and I know that everybody talks about it, but it is.
It's part of the pop culture lexicon at this point.
It's kind of compelling television.
So next, I want to talk about Robin Hobb, who I think is the most underrated major name in fantasy.
Which is hilarious because when you told me we were going to talk about this, I panic searched for top 10 most influential current fantasy writers, and pretty much every single list had her on it.
But she's never ranked highly enough, and like
she's always at least 10. She's always top 10.
She's always top 10. But really though, I don't know,
how I feel about her. I'm just saying
I'm not saying that she's a small name in fantasy. She is definitely one of the biggest names in fantasy. I don't know, man. I just always feel like she doesn't get the credit she deserves. Like, she's highly regarded.
Again, know how I feel about her. Like, she, man, arguably is... When I have to hesitate to try and decide if I like her as much as I like Patrick Rothfuss, should tell you how much I like her stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't know why... But it does feel...
Yeah, no.
Like folks are sleeping on her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that said, I think there's a few out there that I think I've been sleeping on. There's no one who's, new. Like, again, she's going to be the second oldest on this list. Like, not age-wise, but, career-wise. She's been around a while. She almost didn't make the list because of that.
See, I was a little surprised to see her on the list.
Yeah, I mostly put her on here because
I love her.
Fuck, man. Anytime I can, I'm going to...
Yeah.
But there's some other authors out there that I think are in the same boat that I think I've been sleeping on, but they're older authors. I don't think I've really been sleeping on much in the way of newer authors, but Louis McMaster Bujold, I think I've been sleeping on her. Well, I haven't because I've read 2 of her books and they're fucking amazing, but I haven't read her main stuff. But anyway, so I've always feel like people have been sleeping on Robin Hobb. All right, so she's written 5 series. She writes under 2 names. Her name is Margaret Astrid Lindholm Ogden. She was born in 1952, but she's known by her pen names Robin Hobb and Megan Lindholm. She started as Megan Lindholm, and then in 95 she started writing her Realm of the Elderlings series, which started with Assassin's Apprentice, and it's 5 trilogies. It's done now. It actually just finished last year. So would you say that you could, other than the last one, could you pretty much read any of the trilogies standalone? I know Live Ship you could, and Rainforest you could.
Could you?
And then the first one, obviously, you could.
Okay, the way I look at it is I look at her work kind of like comic books and wrestling. Can you jump in at any point, understand what's happening, and enjoy it as a self-contained thing? 100%.
Yeah.
Will you get even way more out of it if you've known the other stuff? Yes. Is it necessary? No.
Okay. So you could literally, but the last one I think you probably need to have read.
Although I will say that, can you do it? Yes. But I just
would recommend that you do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because there's for example, if you started with the second Chivalry series trilogy, you're not going to fully appreciate what he's gone through.
So you
to get
could
to
read.
that point.
She's got the Live Ship Traders trilogy. You could definitely read that standalone. You could read the Rainforest one standalone pretty well.
I haven't read this,
but it's pretty. It's not like a Fit Chivalry Direct, right? It's in the setting, but
it's
not.
But I think those two tie together like the 2 Fit Chivalry ones do.
Okay, and then the first Assassin's Apprentice, you could read some of her stuff standalone. You don't have to read all 15. You know, pretty good. Check her out. Not going to talk about her too much. But yeah,
I am because I love her. She is the first author I think that made me realize that I love first person narrative. Because more than likely what you get is third person limited nowadays. You don't get too awful much first person. You'll get some first person much more commonly in YA and things like that. You don't get a ton of it, but she's real good at it. And
I'd say top 5 writers in fantasy.
Yeah, she
prose wise.
Yeah, and the fact is I think the strong point of those stories is the fact that she makes you care so much about the character, and a large part about that is because you're writing it in first person really helps that.
Yeah.
But no, she's fantastic at the prose. She makes you care about the characters. I hesitate to say it's low fantasy, low magic, because there is magic.
It's fairly low magic.
But there's not a ton. But then as it goes on, there is more of it, but it's just not.
It's not just magic, magic ninjas. What?
Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't like saturate the story.
Yeah.
It's kind of used sparingly, but it is very important when it's used.
I'm really excited to read her stuff. I haven't read her things,
my
but I
God.
have a couple of her books where I've just picked it up as it's been on sale.
I think you have 4
the first books. Yeah.
I think you have the first book in 4 of her trilogy.
Yeah. As it goes on sale, I'll just like, oh, I know that name. I snatch it up.
When you read Assassin's Apprentice, I will probably reread it again because I love it so much.
I'm excited to read it.
I think you're gonna really like it. She really is fucking top notch.
Right. So who else should we be looking for?
Okay, so this is going to be, I'm going to say probably my favorite name on the list, Mark Lawrence. Okay. All right, so Mark
name
Lawrence
I recognize,
was born in 1966. He's a British-American novelist and scientist who wrote the Broken Empire trilogy of fantasy books. In 2014, he won the David Gemmell Legends Award for Best Novel for Emperor of Thorns. He operates the annual self-published fantasy blog off, which so that's a thing on it's a thing, but it's real big on the fantasy subreddit where it's self-published authors. It's like a contest between self-published authors. To like
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know what kind of contest.
Best.
Like do they post up like a thing especially written for that contest?
If I remember correctly, he goes through and kind of curates a list, and then people vote on it. I think.
Like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you just kind of live out throughout the year. You have your thing, and then he comes
I don't
through.
know the details of
curious.
how it's run, but all I know is like you going through the year, you'll see like, oh hey, this book was part of that. The SPFB. So you see like, oh hey, here like, hey, I'm reviewing this book. It was an SPFB book. So you know that there's a level of quality to it.
Okay.
So he was actually born in the United States, but while young, he moved to the UK. He has a degree in physics and holds a PhD in mathematics. He's married and has 4 kids. He's actually the primary caregiver for his disabled child, Selin. And that's why he doesn't travel. He doesn't go and promote his books. He doesn't go to conventions, stuff like that. He works as a novelist and was a research scientist in the field of artificial intelligence, and he's held a secret level clearance with both the U.S. and U.K. governments.
Wow.
Oh. So he wrote, as it says, the Broken Empire trilogy, which that's not the only thing he's wrote, but it's what made him famous.
I think I have the first of those.
He's read the first.
Yeah.
I've read the first trilogy and the first book of one of the other trilogies, and I will read all of them. Like, he is amazing. I love him to death. Broken Empire, I'm not going to recommend it for everyone. Broken Empire.
You said that was real dark.
It's real dark. It's about a guy named Jorg Ankrath, who is a prince. Him and his dad don't get along, so he runs away, joins a mercenary company, takes it over, and they are real bad people. And he goes around doing bad things because he is going to... It's an alternate kind of future history version of Europe, and there's like 100 kingdoms, and by God, he's going to take over all of them, he decides. He's going to reunite everything and be the emperor, but he's a real piece of work. He's a nasty, bad person.
If I'm remembering correctly, within the first 5 pages of the book, he's like, and then they went off and raped those people.
Yes.
Oh, that's the book.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah,
So
I do have that.
He is a
I haven't read it.
terrible person. But as you read it, you come to find out how he came to be terrible. Now, it doesn't do that to justify his actions, but to explain how someone could come to do those actions.
Yeah.
There's like, it toes a fine line. Like, if this was just like glorifying all this fucking fucked upness, I wouldn't like it. But Jorg is basically, he's a genius, and he uses that genius for
bad things.
But yeah, it's amazing. I don't want to talk too much because of spoilers, but fucking amazing.
I am of mixed minds about it.
And again, though, you read the first book. I maintain you have to read the trilogy.
Yeah.
Technically, yes, you could read the first book and it would be standalone. Fine. No. To get this series, to get Jorg, you have to read the trilogy. And if you're not going to read the trilogy, don't
I
read
liked
them.
the first one. It was just...
This is one of those... The payoff is at the end of the trilogy. You got to get to the end of the trilogy. And then everything just kind of clicks into place.
There was just a very strong... There was a thing that I'm not going to talk about that I just don't... Like you in time travel.
Yeah.
There's a thing in those books that I just do not like.
Okay.
That I can kind of get past it. It's not as strong as you in time travel.
Yeah.
But it
Fuck
just...
time travel.
It just, I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's something, I plan to finish them at some point.
Yeah.
But it's just not hot. I have so much to read.
Yeah.
And I've got to start spending more time reading.
Next, this will be probably the shortest one on this list. We're going to make this into two episodes.
Yeah. Lots of information to cover.
Lots of information. So the next one is James S.A. Corey.
Yeah, see, I don't even know this name.
I don't know this name either.
Okay, but you do. You just don't know that you do.
Okay.
The Expanse.
Oh.
The Expanse series. It's all over like HBO or sci-fi or something.
Sci-fi?
It was on Sci-Fi, and then
Or is it
Sci-Fi canceled it,
Showtime,
and then like HBO or Showtime or someone picked it up.
I recognize. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've read the first. So first off, James S.A. Corey is actually two people.
Really?
Yeah,
That's curious.
All right, it's the pen name used by collaborators Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank, and
That's
they're
cool.
they're known for the series is called The Expanse. So they came up with their name. It's the first and last name are taken from the two guys' middle names, and S and A are the initials of Abraham's daughter. So under the pen name, So Frank is actually the personal assistant to George R.R. Martin.
Ooh,
So,
that's cool.
And Abraham has written a bunch of other stuff solo.
Okay, so here's what's really important, Bob.
Yeah.
So if we did that, would we be Christopher Lee or Lee Christopher?
Christopher Lee. No, we'd have to be Lee Christopher because Christopher Lee's a famous person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But-
This just sounds awkward.
But then we need some initials too. So Tanya, what initials do we get?
T.S.
Well, then you could be Christopher Lee.
T.S. Christopher.
Or something like that.
T.S.
Yeah. Or Christopher
Leet. They could call us Leets. Leech Chris. Leech Chris, what?
Calm down, killer.
Yikes.
So, but you'll like this, Derek. So, do you know how
you would be Christopher TSM Lee.
No.
I like it. So
No!
You know how these
Yes,
people
yes,
write
yes.
the books?
I was about to ask
Different
that.
view. They have a bunch of different viewpoint characters, and each author writes certain of the viewpoint characters.
I love that.
Man.
That's cool.
That's some fucking
Perfect.
fan fiction shit right there.
That's
I like
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
that's
So,
perfect.
brand ambassador Ryan, he actually turned me on to it. And I've listened to the first 3 audiobooks. I'm not going to listen past that because I see where the series is heading, and it's heading in a direction that I just personally don't want to read.
I remember us talking about that now.
It's good. It's very good.
It's kind of like the time travel thing. It's just going towards a thing that
it's the same thing happened with Codex Alera.
You're well aware it's good. It's just,
I read
it's not.
3 of the 6 Codex Alera books, and I was like, you know what? I've really enjoyed this. I see where the series is heading. I don't want to read 3 books about fighting this type of enemy, so I'm good now. I'm going to stop here. So, but it's a TV show, The Expanse. Check it out. It's good. It's good. James,
I
S.A.
actually
Corey.
heard that the show is very, very good.
I mostly put on here like it is they are a smaller name, but I wanted to have more sci-fi on here for our sci-fi listeners.
Right.
But it is really good, and they've got a fucking popular TV show. You know, like it's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, like check them out.
That's super cool that it's 2 people on 1 pen name.
Yeah,
was
there's
unaware
a
of that.
lot
That's super
of
cool.
questions I have about that process. I've always been fascinated with it because back in the day I tried to do collaboration.
Yeah, I've always all right. So Good Omens, which is becoming a movie
Right.
soon. That's Terry that's
Pratchett and Gaiman.
Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. Read it. I actually didn't like the book. Turns out though it was mostly Pratchett. That's a Pratchett book with a bit of Gaiman in it because Gaiman was too busy with Sandman at the time.
Yeah.
but like that was mostly how I think that worked. Is it was mostly Pratchett writing it, and then they talk on the phone about where it needs to go, and Gaiman would write little bits of it here and there, but mostly that was Pratchett doing the work.
But see, I'm also curious about this because, like, what is it? Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know their writing process.
Yeah, I know that's the thing. It's just
funny
fascinating.
So all right. Here's how we're going to end the episode. So Brandon Sanderson is Mormon, and it got me thinking. And Orson Scott Card is Mormon, and it got me thinking. Like, there's a lot of Mormons that write in the genre, like
Charlene Holmberg. I'm pretty sure. I mean, she's new.
Think,
she writes fantasy, but I think she is as well.
So I got curious and started looking to see who all are Mormon authors in the genre. So here's the list: Tracy Hickman of Dragonlance fame,
right?
Brandon Sanderson, obviously just in him. Orson Scott Card, which is Ender's Game and being offensive. Stephanie Meyer.
What?
Twilight, yeah. The author of Twilight, Mormon.
I bet she was less than pleased about how her characters got scandalized.
I bet you she wasn't.
I
bet you she was fine with it.
Our
got that money
listener,
kicked back.
I mean, she wrote it. I mean, the way she wrote it, I mean, it was fucking.
Our listener Elizabeth is a big fan of that, and
well,
I don't.
Elizabeth, hey, I've read him. We'll talk about him sometime.
Yikes!
So Brandon Mull, he writes the Fablehaven series. I don't think y'all would be aware.
I know the name.
James Dashner, Maze Runner.
Oh, cool.
David Farland, Rune
Yep,
Lords.
very well aware.
Larry Courier, he's a pretty big name. He almost made my list.
I recognize the name.
I haven't read any of his
seen
stuff.
his name on books.
Yeah, Larry Courier. He's very popular. He writes the Monster Hunter series as his main series. And Shannon Hale, who is apparently like a New York Times bestselling author, but it's young adult stuff. So I personally didn't recognize any of it, but it's big name stuff. So I just thought that was like, wow, neat.
Cool.
Neato Burrito.
Yeah.
As one might
Neato
say.
Burrito.
So
Excellent jobbert, Robert.
So okay. On that note, we're gonna end here, and we're gonna immediately record the second half of this, so that next week y'all will get the back half, so you find more authors you should follow.
Really, you should just go and buy a book from each of these people. Like
you really should.
Yeah.
You will not.
There is no name on here. Like, if you don't like sci-fi, don't go buy fucking James S.A. Corey.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, but if you don't like reading about bad people, don't go buy Mark Lawrence. But like, if you're just a general reader type, any one of these books, you can't go wrong. So, all right. In the coming week, as the week embraces you like a warm tortilla shell,
burritos,
you little burritos, may the May the blessing of the beard be upon you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Books, Beards, Booze. Our co-hosts are Bob, Derek, and Tanya. Our producer is Bob. For more information, visit our website, booksbeardsbooze.com. Follow our social media at Tales by Bob. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share. Okay, bye.